What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on the Soren Baker Show. Appreciate you guys listening and following us as we're building the show and getting it going. And it's really exciting, man. We've been having a lot of great guests, and everything is moving very well. So thank you for all the support in that. And we have an esteemed special guest tonight. It's a gentleman that I had the pleasure of meeting through another one of my friends, Kokane. And as you guys may recall, he was the guest on my first episode of the Soren Baker Show podcast. And thank you for supporting that, subscribing, and sharing. And please be sure to do that again and keep it going, because we're trying to build the podcast and make it huge so that we can bring a wide array of guests and keep the discussion of what's great about music and what's great about art and what's great about entertainment going. And through your guys' support, we're going to be able to keep doing that and building the show to where we're able to, continue doing great things with the Soren Baker Show. So we appreciate all that. And with no further ado, let's get to tonight's guest, man. We have a Weazel Loc.
Who that?
Yes,
Weazel Loc.
He's in the building, man. And we're going to go through his life, his career, and his new project that just came out. So, we're going to keep it moving. Some of you guys may know him as a solo artist. Some of you may know him from the Dirty OGs when he gets down with the Chill and Corrupt and Trey D and Coca. And then you got Pomona City Riders, got all kinds of things going on, man. Yeah. And the Gangster Guarantee is the new project, so we're going to be getting into that as well. But Weazel Loc, thank you, first of all, for coming in and joining us here on the Soren Baker Show.
Man. Thanks for having me again, Play.
Yeah,
boy.
Man. Yeah, me and Weazel got some good interviews in the chamber, man. Make sure to check those out on Unique Access Entertainment YouTube channel. But Weazel, what I want to do is do a very extensive interview, so we're going to start off kind of chronologically here. Since you rep Pomona really hard, is that actually where you were born and raised?
That's where I was born and raised, in Pomona City.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, being that we already had Kokane on the show, one thing I think that people don't understand or appreciate that I'd like you to speak on is, like, being born and raised there, coming up there, is the significance of what Pomona has done with, the Above the Laws, the Cocaines, the Sugar Frees. So for you, being from there and seeing let's start with Above the Law. Just that was the first time I'd ever, not being from California, that was the first I'd ever even heard of Pomona.
Right.
So for you growing up, like, what was Pomona like in those days before Above the Law?
Chocolate City.
Okay.
Black families would get together at the park every weekend. My mom's, all her sisters, my friends' mothers and fathers and shit, we would be at the park barbecuing, low riding, listening to James Brown, Parliament, Bootzilla. Those were some of the days in Pomona, man, where, it was a lot of unity, black unity, a lot of love.
Right.
And this was right before, like, the crack epidemic, of course, which, killed a lot of loyalty with families and just shit like that. It messed up people's character. But, yeah,
everything.
man, growing up in Pomona was fun, man. And then fortunately for me, I didn't just grow up only in Pomona, you know what I'm saying? I had grandmothers. I have a grandmother that lived in San Dimas, which moved from L.A. and bought a house, and all her 4 sisters moved out there. Then I lived with my grandmother in L.A. Then I lived with my other grandmother in Long Beach in the San Pedro area. So, I was kind of like diverse with my growing up. I got to see a little bit of both worlds, as far as, like, a lot of urban ghetto type shit. And then I had good family structure, My grandfather was in the military.
Okay.
Shit like that.
So with that, I think it's also important for people, obviously people in Southern California, but I think around the world that are listening, and around the United States in particular, is that when people think of Los Angeles,
right,
they think of, like, everything is exactly the same.
Right.
They don't understand that Long Beach is different from San Dimas, which is different from Pomona,
right,
and how and why they're different. So for you as a kid growing up in the ravages of the cocaine explosion and seeing these different cities before that and after that, what would you say to someone that didn't know, like, what is the difference between a Pomona and a Long Beach, for instance?
It might just be a little bit smaller population.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as mentality and just the people, we only like 26 miles, maybe 30 miles from Long Beach.
Right.
So, you know, it's not that far out of the area to where our mentality is different, you know, than somebody that might have grew up in Oklahoma or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So really, like I said, you know, most of the people from Pomona got family that, you know, is from Long Beach, L.A., Compton, Watts, you know, and all of that. So we got a lot more in common than not.
Right.
So I really don't see too much of a difference other than population, you know, but dynamite is small until you light that shit up. So it really don't, you know, go by that either. You know,
right.
But, you know, there's a lot of good things that came from Pomona. Champs, Above the Law, you know, I had the fortunate chance and blessing, you know, to be raised on them and with them. You know, I know KMG, rest in peace, he was one of my good influences as far as being from Pomona and just living like a hustler. He was a code illustrator. And, of course, Hutch, who was the musical director who led, you know, a lot of that sound to the Above the Law and, you know, the influences of the Kokane. And, you know, Hutch named Kokane, you know what I'm saying? And I always grew up, you know, I went with them to some sessions dreaming that they would give me a verse, but it was never enough room, you know, until a few years later, you know, and I just kept on spitting. And, of course, that's when, like, one of the coldest jams I did, like, the first time was with Kokane. He let me in on this record that I helped him write on Too Short's album, Pimp Shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was, like, in the, like, late maybe like 97 or something like that. So that's when we kind of first started collaborating on music. But other than that, you know, I grew up watching them break dance at 5 Points, which was a spot in Pomona on the west side where carnivals and shit was at, and break dancing, you know, hip hop, all of the elements. Motherfuckers go up there, show their shit, originality, bussing,
and
breaking.
I think it's important with you saying that is a lot of people forget that, or because LA in the area is so known for gangsterism, they forget that there was so much beyond that was going on as things were forming. And that, I think, is important because obviously we have like the music pre-gangster rap, but we had like the Egyptian Lovers of the World and all that type of stuff that was going on in Uncle Jam's Army. Not gangster at all. And in fact, more on the electronic side.
But the gangsters used to love it and bump it.
And would dance to it.
And would dance to it. You know, Gangster Boogie, Crip Walk, or whatever you did, you know, do the freak, you know, and shit like that. But
and be happy to do it.
Of course, because music, you know, always make you happy or cry, you know, but, you know, then, you know.
Brings out the emotions.
Yeah, but it brings out the best of us, you know, it should, you know, even if it's just emotions to put on wax. But, you know, that funk and shit, man, that brought everybody together. That music, man, that's the universal language. We know that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with Above the Law, one of my favorite groups of all time, and I think one of the best rap groups of all time, near the top. But for you, what do you think made Above the Law magical?
Originality.
Okay.
They was living like hustlers. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Above the Law is one of the first groups that did a collaboration as far as outside of their own rap group and crew with Tupac or something.
Oh,
you know, that was
What You Want?
Yeah.
That was on the Black Mafia Life album.
Right. That was like one of the first, you know, collaborations or something that I could think of. It might have been some other ones.
It's an early one because Above the Law, of course, they had the famous the last song on Living Like Hustlers,
which was a cold ass record.
Phenomenal record. But to your point, Above the Law definitely branched out, and of course, way before Tupac was who he was to the rest of the world. Above the Law, you know, featured him on the record.
Well, you know, great minds think alike. So, you know, I don't know exactly who brought Tupac in the game, but Hutch, with his mastermind, he saw something in him to where he fit, you know, on that particular record. And he shined on it, and he made that motherfucker come out. And, of course, they did what they always do. You know?
And Money B, let's not forget Money B.
Man, you can't forget Money B. That's my partner. I seen Money B not too long ago. What's up, Money B? Yeah, he definitely... even though, you know, people might not look at him as like a hell of a lyricist that did this or that, but you got to realize the jams that he was a part of, man, had a big impact on all of us right now. So it ain't even really about quantity, it's about quality, because it's a lot of artists that we know putting out a bunch of garbage, in my opinion.
That's for sure.
You know, a lot of it.
A lot of it.
And they're proud of it. But, you know, Money B, you know, it's like, man, I did last song, motherfucker, and that's killing everything your whole career could do, you know, because of the style on it, you know, and the fun that they had with the funk.
Yeah, and
you know?
And the Black Mafia life. For those that are not familiar, you know, when you look at the Above the Law musical lineage with Living Like Hustlers, then the Vocally Pimpin' EP, and then Black Mafia Life, those 3 projects, you know, I talk about it in my book, The History of Gangsta Rap, but everybody that is not familiar with those 3 records, if you really want to understand a lot about what goes on in music, you would do yourself a favor
man. Just
by those 3. Just those 3 projects.
Right.
Above the Law has a lot of other phenomenal work, but those 3, you're going to hear samples used for the first time in certain ways. You're going to hear samples used on the Chronic in a similar ways, and you're going to hear collaborations with Tupac very early in his career. You're going to hear Money B. You're going to hear MC Ren. You're going to hear all these different things.
I love that because when you listen to Above the Law, like you said, when you go back to projects like that, especially if you just haven't had a chance to just do your homework, that'll give you something to do. So go get those records. But sonically, you know, funk, the G-funk, the way they took that and just really, you know, they hit us hard with that, man.
Yeah.
It was a big influence, man. Like I said, it was such an influence that even the other artists that they work with Easy and Dre and all of them, man, it just sparked other great ideas, which usually does happen when greatness is around each other, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, you influence each other with just different ideas and shit. So, no, Hutch was a genius with that, man, and he definitely helped put Pomona way on the map. Like musically, we got our props. It's like, okay, they living like hustlers. Eating chicken like a motherfucker, rolling my caddy. You know, and they had many other lines and shit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, they came up with some of the first original slang, which, you know, that's what we do in Pomona. You know, we original.
Yeah, and I told this to Coca too, but one of my favorites, and I told this to KMG, rest in peace, when he was alive, but the coldest line, man, it's not what you know,
it's what you can prove.
I remember like, oh my God.
Come on, the illustrator himself.
That's
it's
phenomenal.
not what you know, it's what you can prove. Come on, man. That voice, that raspy voice, it was just so influencing. And, you know, I could say, he helped influence, you know, some of the direction that I wanted to go because I've been a hustler all my life. I still am. So it's like when you just looking at these type of cats really just take it from the streets and just on a journalist perspective of just writing it and just putting it out there in music form, you know, it was and they did it so long ago. You know, I was young, I was a kid, you know, so it was like looking up to them doing that long ago. Easy was like, man, we got to have this, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then of course Above the Law through Hutch and Coca being cousins.
Come on, man.
That makes it a natural progression, bringing out at the time, Who Am I?
Right. Because Coca's always been there with him, you know, from day one. You know, he's the original Above the Law, you know, so Kokane is definitely an original, you know.
So for you being around that movement and seeing what Kokane was doing, or Who Am I, for those that have the first album that he ever did, but for you, what made and makes Kokane so special, knowing him since before fame, before record deals, you know, before things blew up?
You know what? Kokane is so talented and original. See, nobody did what Kokane ever did before him. You know what I mean? He was one of the first cats that really, you know, was bussing, but he knew how to sing and harmonize and just came with different voices. And, you know, he was baptized in the funk.
Right.
So nobody else had did that at that time. You know what I mean? And he took something and made it his own. You know what I mean? And he mastered it. You know, Kokane is cold. He's a prolific writer. Kokane makes beats. He plays the piano. Yeah, you know, so he's cold. I'm surprised he ain't left-handed or some shit, but
I am.
Right, well, you know, you're special. You got talents too. You know, but yeah, Kokane was definitely one of my coldest influences because, you know, I'd like to think that I do what he do. You know, I try to. I emulate a lot of it, you know, because, like I said, the influence is there because, you know, we grew up together. I grew up watching him do this shit. So, you know, when he ain't there and might not be there, sometimes I could, on the right night, not every time, but I could, you know, get some shit out and fuck with that funk, you know. Yeah, because I'm baptized in it too, you know. That's
drenched in it.
Yeah.
And that being said, let's get into the first record with the Too Short and Kokane collaboration.
Yeah.
With that, obviously, Too Short is known for having that type of record or those type of titles and phrases and all that type of stuff. So what was it that you and Coca were bringing to Short, or he was looking to get from you guys?
Well, the thing is, Kokane and I had already been collaborating, and we already been doing music. You know what I mean? So he had the situation with Too Short, and I was with him. You know?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So when it was time to do it, you know, I had spit that shit and, you know, came up with it. And, you know, he delivered it, and he helped let me, you know, participate with him on it. So that was how that happened, you know, which was definitely a cool thing, because he could have just said, "What'd you say?" And, you know, did it by himself, but he let me get down with him, you know what I mean? So that was fly.
And did you record all together?
Yeah.
That song?
Yeah, we did.
So what, because Above the Law came out in 90 with Living Like Hustlers, and obviously Short had come out more than 5 years earlier and was doing the tapes with Freddie B and everything up in Oakland.
Right.
So for you, what did you notice back then about how Too Short, who had been at that time recording for a long time and also had been in the game way longer than Above the Law, what did you notice or pick up from Short that was different from how Above the Law approached things and how Kokane approached things?
Well, I've never really had a chance to just work with Too Short personally on a consistent basis to just see his ethics. I just know what he did influenced me way in Pomona with a cassette. I don't know how it got there.
Right.
You know, I know they didn't UPS it. He didn't have a record deal. So he influenced us from Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Right. Sugar Free came from Oakland too. You know, his family and shit, they came from Oakland. So Oakland and Pomona got a relationship. We cousins. You know what I'm saying? So it was natural when that Dope Fiend beat came out. Right. Motherfucker was gonna get a cassette and find it somewhere in the streets. You know what I mean? You could actually find it. I had a few niggas that actually had it, and you know, I got it. So
that's a powerful beat right there.
You know what I'm saying? So the Too Short thing, man, that was too cold, because, you know, that was one of my favorite rappers. He was one of the first, you know.
Still is, one of mine.
Man, come on, man.
Still.
You know, it's Schoolie D, Ice-T, Too Short. Yeah. You know, those is the originals. You know what I'm saying? Too Short must have been little when he did that shit, and he's still going. So,
right. Yeah. Don't stop rapping.
Man, come on, man.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of, you know, your career, and then, you know, for me being a journalist, being able to like look at, study, and now get to know everybody that I grew up idolizing. So it's just an amazing experience, and I know from talking to, seeing, and witnessing artists working with people that were out before them, it's always like a wild thing.
Come on, man, it's the same feeling I get. You know what I mean?
That's why I was curious.
And you know, it ain't no secret. It's like, man, you know, we grew up listening to these cats, and then you find yourself, man, we booked with Too Short and them tonight. Right. You know, I take my son with me, you know, everywhere I go, you know, when he ain't working doing his own thing, and, you know, he get to see and meet Ice Cube and, you know, all of the cats that we listen to, you know, man, and really was big fans of. You know, now some of them become, you know, personal friends and, you know, peers if nothing, you know, but definitely, it's definitely been a cool journey having fun with this shit. That's the main thing. Have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
You know? And you know, Microphone Fiend, that's what I do. So I'm all gas, no brakes. We getting down tomorrow with Bone Thugs, gassing them, you know, taking flight. So
well, that's a beautiful thing, man.
It is, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Gangsta guaranteed that.
Yes. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we have the, you know, fast forwarding a lot over life and stuff, but for you, when you were realizing that this is actually working and like you can do music and you can be around this, like what happened in your mind, or what changed, or what evolution did you have going from like I love rap and all this other stuff to where I'm doing a song with Too Short and my boys are in the game and they're doing it big? Like, what was going on in your mind?
Man, since rap came out, since rappers did a lot of any of that shit, man, it hit me way back then, the mic. I was freestyling and busting way back then when I was like 11, 10. Okay. You know, I started writing. They had a radio station, KSPC. I spit my first rap on the radio, KSPC. I was like 12 years old. This was in the 80s, man, in the early 80s. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a gangster. I said, I'm just a gangster, and I gives a fuck. You have to be crazy to call my bluff, because I'll call on shock in the splits of a second. If he can't handle it, you know, I was spitting that shit way
don't
back
stop.
then.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Right. I did, and I got on the radio, and they let me do it live, man, and man, I just never stopped microphone fiending. And then, of course, you know, my uncles and shit, they was raised on the funk, so they was at all of the Parliament concerts. So when rap came out, we didn't miss one. He was like, man, I thought you said it was going to be a different lineup. We kept seeing the same lineup. Run DMC, LL Cool J, Houdini. I seen them every time they came to town.
Right.
You know, and I even took a couple of pictures with Jam Master Jay and DMC and Hurricane them at the sports arena.
LA Sports Arena?
Yeah, this was in the 80s.
Right.
Then they just kept turning the parties out too hard at the concerts, people getting stampeded, so then they moved it to Orange County. You know, where the police was a little bit more hard, and it was more of a controlled environment. But I was at all that shit, man. I met Easy, all that, you know. He was like, man, I might give you a deal, man. Let me see what you got. So, of course, I took flight, you know. This was like, I believe, maybe one of his last shows at the Bonaventure Hotel.
Wow.
This was like his last show that he did. I think Silky Fine was there. He was just bringing out BG Knockout and Drake.
Okay.
This was his last show. And I got to spit for him. And I never got the deal, but I kept smashing, and I never forgot. You know, that was just like some real shit to me, you know, to get at him, you know what I mean? And he was a real one, you know. Easy used to walk around all the concerts. I remember one time we was at the what was that little joint in Orange County? They used to have them shows at. He walking around. I'm like, what's up, Easy? He walking by himself, man. I'm looking for this promoter, man. Get my money, man. This motherfucker owe me some money. You know, he was doing that by himself. So I'm like, man, this nigga got hard. You know, I was a kid, you know, just like, yeah, Easy, a real one. I got to get on Ruthless. But I never did, you know, but I didn't, you know, stop smashing and shit. So, yeah.
Well, let's take a quick detour with Eazy-E, man, because, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to write my book, The History of Gangster Rap, was really to talk about a lot of his accomplishments.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times he gets overlooked in history for a variety of reasons. But, you know, when you look at the fact that, you know, he had Eazy-E, he had JJ Fad, he had NWA, he had Above the Law, he had the Bone Thugs and Harmony, he had an early version of the Black Eyed Peas with the At Band Clan. You know, he had Terry B, the white female rapper that he did with Schoolie D.
Right, I'm here.
You know, he had all this movement, and of course, with NWA, you have Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, MC Ren, DJ Yella, and when you look at what Cube and Dre in particular have done, it's just staggering.
Right.
And Eazy-E, people forget that Easy Does It was bigger than Straight Outta Compton for a long time. Right.
Well, you got to figure too, and then this is miraculous. He accomplished in what? How many years? 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's really like
what it's taken, you know, some of these labels to accomplish in 20 years, 25 years.
And he did it as a black-owned independent.
And he was young. He wasn't even, you know, 30 at the time, I don't think, or something. You know, he might have been just, you know, only that maybe. So.
And this is also something like Laylaw from Above the Law, or, you know, told me this too. Like, people have to understand, like, the first song he ever made was Boys in the Hood. He didn't have demos. He didn't have other songs.
He went straight to the top.
He just made Boys in the Hood. That's your first song you ever recorded,
one of the most
you ever
biggest
made.
influential songs, you know, in gangster shit, you know, So
that's your first song.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, that's big. I wish I wrote it.
Yeah, of course. I wish I did. You still be getting paid.
Damn right.
Still be getting paid.
Yeah.
But that's it's just a staggering thing, which, you know, ties full circle into like what you're working on now, and, you know, what's going on in music that we're, you know, getting to right now, and that sets up to the point with the Dirty OGs that I want to talk about, because, you know, as you know, I'm a big fan of the What We Got Now and Next album. And, you know, I think it's important to understand, like, you know, with Big Trade-E, with his legacy with the East Siders, and now obviously as a solo artist, even before the East Siders, you know, being on soundtracks, working with Snoop, etc. And then you got the Chill, of course, with Compton's Most Wanted, Corrupt, obviously, with the Dog Pound, yourself doing your collaborations and being known throughout the world. I just think it's, when we look at what gangster rap brought to the game and the fact of all this different movement, and we see like a group like the Dirty OGs able to come out, get a great response, and put out high quality music. I think it's a testament to the power of what the Schoolie D's and, and the Ice-T's and the Eazy-E's.
Right.
And as you, me, and Kokane had talked about, like Ice-T's power.
Come on, man.
Like people forget about Ice-T.
Right, and he's one of the originals that made it possible to even fathom doing this type of music because he started it.
Right.
You know, he was one of them.
Yeah.
One of the originators, you know, and that counts. You know, but again, I think when you raised a certain way, you learn how to respect and pay homage because you know if it wasn't them, it wouldn't be you.
Right.
Some kids grow up and shit and think they did it on their own and forget about their daddy because he drank too much or something. It's like, motherfucker, he still made you. You didn't do this on your own. So, for me, always paying respect and homage will get you a lot further because then you do your homework and you just see, like, with this, the history of gangster rap. You know, this Gangsta Guaranteed is like the sequel to following up to that, on audio. So it's like, I follow some of their blueprints, and they got timeless music. So that's really what I want to do, give them some quality shit like the Schoolie D's, Ice-T's. And hopefully I could keep bringing their legacy up, when there's need, and let them get to shine by paying homage and respect.
Right.
And I get the same when my son and his little homies or something come up doing their thing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep on spitting though.
Right. So what did you learn about yourself through the process of being in the Dirty OGs and putting that record out and doing the videos, doing the interviews, doing the, the shows and different things?
Man, patience, and that I do have patience, and I'm a team player. I'm real secure with myself, so I know how to be patient, let other people shine. I know how to be supportive, and just have fun, man. I don't have no worries, so I don't have no hang-ups and shit. So whenever I'm doing it, I'm having fun. I ain't doing nothing by force. I ain't getting no handouts. Pops and moms always told me to avoid the free lunch. So, if a motherfucker forced me to have a drink with him, okay, with the Godfather or something. But other than that, I got my own shit, and my own style. But I do know how to be a team player, So working with the Dirties, that's what you get out of that, patience. And you learn how to get some dope tips and shit in the studio, in the shows, all of that, it's advantages in it, man.
Well, speak too about like the lessons of avoiding the free lunch and things, because I think one of the misconceptions of people is that they don't think, they just react, or they're one-dimensional in these type of ways. So for you, how have you found as a person, as a creative person, as a father, all these different things, like what were those type of lessons that you learned, and who did you learn them from?
From my grandfather, My father always dropped jewels, whenever he could. My father did a lot of prison time, but then he came home and got his shit way together.
Okay.
This was 30 years later almost. But he was, but I got uncles and shit, man, and they all was seasoned. All of my uncles was married. All of them had homes. All of them had careers, businesses. So I grew up with structure, Motherfucker know how to be clean and neat, fresh to death, Have some structure in your day, and just always think, So I got that from the men in my life, I wasn't one of them cats that grew up with no male figures.
Right.
Yeah, I got brothers and shit, so I had plenty of good male figures in my life.
And when did you first realize what a benefit that was for you?
When I get to be around some of my partners that I have love for, family members, and they didn't have it, and you just see the shit that they missing. It's just common sense type shit,
Right.
And just manly things, some of the shit I see that they teach their sons, or really not teaching their sons, rather, just things like that. I grew up solid, so that's how I teach my sons, to be men, and so far so good. We've been consistent with it over 25 years, that's right. Right, so, yeah.
You got to keep it that way, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a blessing too, man. And, I'm a father too, so, I have a daughter, and it's just, it's staggering to see, like you were just saying, the people that don't instill things into their children or the right things or values, you can see it start. You can see it, and it really spirals quickly because they don't have someone to talk to. They don't have someone to look to. They don't have these things, and I think, that's a very important thing for a person,
especially for young men, especially young black men. We need that lacing and that seasoning, in our young ladies, and for any man,
And that's why it's important to mention that you did bring your son here, because I think a lot of times, especially as portrayed in the media, a lot of times, we get more of the black man's a deadbeat dad. The black man's the absentee father.
Yeah, we gonna kill that stigma and show that, man, nah, man, we are fathers. Some of the homies just got a bad rap, caught up in a certain environment, circumstances. And then choices too, because the motherfucker got to make some wise choices. That's on you, wherever the fuck you at.
Right.
Just because everybody's smoking crack, motherfucker, don't say, man, it's my environment.
Right.
I got to steal. Last time I did that when I was little, I got caught at the grocery store. He was like, all right, motherfucker, you stole. I'm going to let you work it off for a week.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I got gaffled. But he's like, I ain't going to tell your mama. See, my mama didn't let me and my brother steal. She was like, motherfucker, fuck that. I don't need the police at the door. So we grew up with structure, you know what I'm saying, and rules and boundaries and common sense and how to be fresh and clean and, think. Motherfucker, do your homework, read, get it together.
Well, I think that, too, is tied into a lot of this, is something that I also think is very important that people, I think, are increasingly forgetting is accountability.
Right.
Because obviously racism is alive and well.
It is.
Social injustice is alive and well. Police brutality, all this stuff is alive and well. It's not going anywhere, unfortunately. But I think, too, it's important, like you're saying, to be able to be like, hey, I should know by now that smoking crack is wrong. Don't do that.
Motherfucker, right.
Don't do that.
Some shit you don't need a father for. Motherfucker, if you jump off that bridge, you're going to kill yourself or play with motherfucking fire, you get burned. So, I believe that, you don't necessarily have, because my father wasn't there in my life growing up as a kid. But I did have uncles and grandfathers, and other men that would get me straight like that. But you don't necessarily need a father. Some kids grow up as orphans and shit. Motherfucker, you don't got a mother or a father, but you better get it together. You're here.
Right.
So, you can't have no cop-outs either,
Speaking of which, Ice-T is an orphan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he obviously had to go through a lot of things, being from Jersey, moving out here and having to navigate, being an orphan and not in an ideal circumstance in South Los Angeles in the early 80s.
Man, hey, on my grandmama's side, my father's mother, all my cousins, all of them is orphans. We just found them.
Really?
They ain't orphans no more, son.
Wow.
Yeah, but me and my father found my whole family. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they was in orphanages and all kind of shit. We had a whole, we had, like I said, I had the best of a lot of different worlds, with a good balance, because one of my grandmamas was a Christian Baptist.
Okay.
My other grandmother was a Pentecostal Christian. She didn't sin. She didn't even wear pants or cuss.
Wow.
Then my other grandmama ran go-go houses in a bar. So
two different worlds.
So I lived with all of them.
Right.
Every summer when they get tired of, and every winter too, when everyone couldn't handle me, man, you go with your other grandmama. So, but and they got shipped out to orphanages and shit. I was a little older. I moved around.
Okay.
So, but they didn't. They got caught up in the system. But thank God, they doing good now.
And how were you able to find them?
The internet.
Really?
And through Sissy,
Wow.
Thank God for Sissy. She helped us, close family friend. Yeah, and she had a little technology and savvy with the computer, had some connections and shit, and we just found them. It took some years and some money, but we did it.
That's big, man.
Yeah, we did it, man. So they good, though. Just like anybody else now. Take off. You got a good chance.
Right.
Ride it out.
And what's the age range?
Anywhere from like maybe the youngest is like 17 to 28, maybe. Something like that, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. 17 to 28. And we found them, when the youngest one was like maybe like 13 or something.
Okay.
So, yeah, this has been some years now.
Wow.
Yeah, but we did that.
That's big, man. Congratulations.
Man, thanks, man. Yeah,
That's big.
It's a blessing, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, back to music.
Back to this music. Some music. Let's talk about some music, man.
Yeah, man.
What's happening? Gangster Guarantee that.
Yeah, we got this Gangster Guarantee project that, just dropped. And, getting to know it and everything. I think this, the Blue House Shoes.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite track.
Of course. Right.
Well, why do you think it's my favorite track?
Well, you know what? Because, first of all, it's banging.
Absolutely.
Let's get straight to that.
Absolutely.
The production is out of sight. The collaborations is perfect. You know, it's dope.
Yes.
It's dope. It's one of my favorite jams, too. I like that.
Now, why do you like it?
For those reasons. Funky, dope.
Okay.
Sonically seasoned. You know, when you bang it in the car or in the truck or whatever you got, it's just going to blow your mind. And then everybody just coming with that raw, L.A. sound, Compton. And I'm hitting them hard with Pomona and Trey D. Shut It Down with Long Beach.
Absolutely. And I think, too, this is another great example, speaking on Trey D in particular, of being a super ultra gangster, but then also being extremely excellent on the lyrics.
Yeah, he's prolific.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he gets down.
So with that, for you, I wanted you to explain, like, what is it about how Trey D writes that makes what he does so special? Because
it's real, and that's not just a typical answer, but that's a real answer because it's real. You can feel it, He's giving you a real insight of his point of view and a whole bunch of other people's. He's descriptive.
Very.
So I think that's what makes what he do, special for him.
And then sonically, of course, it's got that thump on it.
Man, it got that. That's produced by Rob T and Chill right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's another reason. It's got double power on that motherfucker. Rob T and Chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with on the production side, obviously things happen in different ways. But for you, like that song in particular, do you remember getting the beat first? Did you have an idea, a concept, and the beat fit the concept, or what?
You know what happened? We were doing a interview one night at King T's studio, at Liquid Studio.
Liquid Radio?
Yeah.
There it is.
We was at Liquid Radio.
Shout out Tila.
Shout out to the big homie Tookie. What's up, King T? But yeah, we was at Tookie's joint, and we was doing an interview. And they was asking us questions, how do you guys create and shit? And Rob T and Chill was in there banging out, of course, some equipment. And they said, how do we create? And, they just start slumping the beat. And, of course, as soon as we heard that motherfucking first drum, we sat down, grabbed our instruments of war, and started pinning that shit. Trey D and Chill start fucking with the hook after they came up with the beat. And then I zoomed in on them. What y'all say? And we just came with that. All Crips wear blue corduroy house shoes. Boom, boom. So, it was magic. We all got in there, got in the circle, put a couple of fat blunts in the sky, and
there it
breathed
was.
on them. One take, Jake. A few minutes. It didn't take long. It was Johnny on the spot. Breathed on them, lace straws, chucks. And there you got blue suede house shoes.
Yeah. And that's...
Blue house shoes.
Blue house. Yeah. I was like, wait.
Right. Frank Sinatra or some shit.
Yeah, a little different type of house shoes.
Right.
But with Blue House Shoes, what is it now? We're in 2019, and the gangster culture has been discussed so much in rap and in film now and on television now. Why do you think it's still so interesting, entertaining, fascinating to people?
Because it's real and you could feel it. People are in denial with reality, but they like to hear it and see it when it's not them. So, when you're giving them something just so real, as long as, we ain't pulling them pistols out on them, firing they shit up, they like it. They want to see the shit,
Right.
So when you give somebody basically a movie, or audio that sound, that they could just visualize, it makes it, motherfucker might want to drink a 40 ounce and ain't had a beer in a while if you listen to Blue House Shoes. Motherfucker might tell you, man, that shit, man, make me want to get hyped. Start punching the bag or somebody in the mouth or some shit, So it's just one of them tribal songs. When that drum come on, the whole village hear that shit and the motherfuckers start doing the rain dance or whatever.
Yes.
Crip walk in our case.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tribal song.
Yeah.
For the riders.
Yeah. No, I love that one, man. And then let's get with the album title, with the Gangster Guarantee. What's the significance of that?
It's like money back guarantee.
Okay.
That guarantees you're gonna like this or you get your money back. You know, and I could gangster guarantee that. You know, and this shit is some of the hardest gangster shit since some of the best albums that you probably mentioned in your book, in my opinion. And some of the people that's been breathing on it opinion. It's dope. I've been getting good reviews on it.
Absolutely.
You know, and yeah, it's safe to say, man, that motherfucker's slumping. Ain't nobody shit really coming that hard until they do it again. But right now, this is the one. That motherfucker gonna be beating down the boulevard. They gonna get it.
And what's your favorite track on the record other than Blue House Shoes? Because that's, we already went.
Man, you know what
that.
I like? Shout out to the ladies. Only fucking one motherfucking year. Yeah. You know, because they always get a fuck a bitch song. So at least we gonna just give them a shout out and, you know, let them know, man, we ain't no kids. We ain't no broken heart men.
Right.
We ain't on no fuck a bitch shit. I'm not.
Right.
You know, I uplift women and shit. So we gonna give them a shout out. We talk about some dog ass bras if we have to, for fun, for humor. But we gonna give the ladies a shout out that's only, you know, down with they man, you know. Hopefully like ours, right?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, like me and Soren.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah,
we got to keep that going.
Yeah.
But why? I think that is important because, you know, again, the perception is, you know, gangster rap, hardcore rap, whatever people want to call it, that there is a negative portrayal of women exclusively.
Right.
But then, you know, people forget that at the time, which I imagine still is, the biggest song Snoop ever had at radio is Beautiful.
Of course.
Because
it's beautiful. Have you heard that song at a wedding? Or at your mama's birthday party or some shit? Yeah, because it's a badass record. It's undeniable. And that's one thing Snoop does very well, in my opinion, is he knows how to create a hit and just, you know, capture the moment and entertain, man, you know. So he do that.
Yeah.
You know, and Beautiful was one of them records, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's too, like, you know, it's important for artists to be able to show wide ranges of their personality.
Of course.
And getting to know Kokane over the years, getting to know Trady in particular, getting to know you a little bit now over the years, like, it's always part of the reason I wanted to do the Soren Baker show is because I realized, like, sometimes when I interview people it's cool, but like the conversations I had with Trady when me and him are just talking, that's super interesting. And it's like, that's where you learn, like, the love he has for Cognac, his wife, who was in Doggy's Angels.
Shouts out to her and him. Yeah, definitely.
For those that don't know. And
that's big.
Absolutely.
You know, you basically can't be a king if you don't got a queen.
Hey, man.
You know, and we can't be scared to teach our sons how to be men by doing fly shit for women, like the Beautiful record with Snoop, or the shouts out to the ladies.
Right.
You know, we got to have some fun and get back to the party, you know.
Yeah. And the party's better with women.
Come on, man. We ain't fucking with no cock fest. Into that shit, no sausage parties, man. Like, invite them ladies. I know I keep them around me. You know.
And I think, you know, it's just, I like that record too for similar reasons, but I also like the fact that it shows just another side of your artistry, but also that you're not afraid to show that side of you. And I think it's important. And of course, that comes with being a man. That comes with being able to stand on your own, too, and all those type of things. But creatively, I think it's another level, and I think it just shows people that there's more to this. Right. That it's not just a one-dimensional type of thing.
Right. You know, Gangsta Guarantee, of course, everybody on the album dies. But no, not this one. Everybody on this album ain't gonna die. But it's just some straight gangster shit. It's independent, so that's gangster. I'm uplifting some dames, the good ones in it. That's gangster. Yeah. You know, and I'm just having artist freedom, you know, doing what I want. Pick the beats I like that I know is slumping. You know, when you beat that shit up on the box down the street, it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. All the way through. Lyrics, you're not gonna struggle. What is he saying? None of that. I'm giving it to you raw and uncut with confidence, and I know it's slumping.
So other than the two records already discussed, what would you say is the song that you're most looking forward to doing a video for, and why?
I got 3 songs I'm gonna do a video for. shout out to the ladies. I'm gonna do a video for that, of course.
As you should.
And I want to do a video for Put That On Dirties.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a video. Corrupt just called me today and said he want to do the Trip video. Trip. Yeah. You know, so look like I got 3 videos to do.
I like
you
that.
know what I'm saying? And Kokane, we gonna do that. Shout out to my niggas and my bitches. That one, though you set up in there, Kokane came on there busting.
Absolutely.
So we got to do that one when he come out here next week.
Well, the Trip record in particular, getting back to that one for a second with Corrupt, the thing about that record is, you know, that one sounded like that was fun being made.
It was.
So why and how?
Because it was like, it was a late night hype, kind of gloomy outside shit. Right, exactly. It was a CMW late night hype type of night.
Right.
Gloomy. And we had already did the party records. And it was like, man, we got to do one of them ones. And Chill bought that record to me. And he was like, man, do this motherfucker and knock it down.
Okay.
So as soon as he played it, you know, the intro caught my, you know, ear. And you know, it's a fun record, you know, talking some shit.
Right.
Wasn't hard to do, didn't have to think too much, you know, and it was just one of them kind of records where Chill led the direction with the production. So all I really had to do was just come up with a, you know, late night drive-by, you know, and they
Music
did die on that one.
Music to drive by.
Music to drive by, that kind of shit. And they did die on that one. Yeah, we had to knock them down on that one.
Yeah, and earlier I think you were alluding to, or at least one thing that actually fit that too was Spice One. Everybody's down on this motherfucker.
Right. Right. You know, because fucking
kill
with
them all,
Spiggity,
kill them
right,
all,
nigga,
kill
it's
them all.
California. Everybody on this motherfucker, except him, of course.
Of course, you got to respect the shooter.
Yeah, he motherfucking right.
But that's you know, that's the beauty of Gangster Guarantee. I think just from the couple records we've just talked about is like. You got like, you know, something to salute the set. You got something that was fun to make. You got some, you know, paying homage to the ladies in a positive light.
Right.
And then you got all these great collaborations with the, you know, the people that you work with.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that makes Gangster Guarantee not only interesting, but, you know, is a good example of how gangster rap is alive and well today and how it will continue to be.
Right.
Because you know, MC Ren had told me this, but it's like stuff is always happening in the streets.
Right.
Stuff is, as much as things have changed, they also haven't changed.
Right. The streets is still the same.
Yeah.
The people change. They die and go to jail.
Yeah. So, you know, this
and then they got the street sweeper. He cleans up the bodies and bring them to the morgue.
Yeah, that's and unfortunately he stay in business.
Motherfucker, right.
He ain't never have a day off.
Nah.
and hasn't for forever.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Since they turned the light on this cold planet.
Come on, man, until they turn it off. It's just like that, Jack.
Exactly.
You know.
So, with Gangster Guarantee and the other stuff that you have going on, what are some of the goals for the project that you're trying to achieve or do differently?
I want to get it to the people, man. That's the main thing. See, and you know, a lot of cats don't really feel comfortable swiping their credit card. So I'm going to do like old school and make sure I got some physical copies for y'all. You know what I mean? And just make sure it get to the people, man, and perform. Do some shows. That's the main thing. So if you're ready to book a dope show, call Weazel Loc, because I'm coming to tear the roof off the mother.
As they should.
You know? And, you know, of course, the branding with the shirts and the hats and the beanies, we got all of that. So that's the main thing, man. Just push the brand, you know, and get ready for some more music. But right now, just capture this moment with Gangster Guarantee. You know, fuck with everybody that fuck with me. You know, if you scared, you know, and you don't want no gangster shit, don't get this. You know, but if you like horror movies and shit, you know, you want to hear some dope shit, man, get it. Because it's dope all the way through.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't slacking on no production. It don't get bored. You know, you ain't going to get bored listening to it. It's snapping all the way through. You know what I'm saying?
I can vouch for that too.
Yeah, it's snapping all the way through. It ain't bored. I didn't get all personal. You know, I got one personal song on there. You know, but it deserves that because I'm snapping, talking shit all the way through that motherfucker, having fun. you know, and giving it to you like you want it. Gangsta guarantee that, you know, it's gonna remind you of some old West Side Connection type shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it hits hard.
Right.
The production in particular.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what was the goal sonically? Was that it?
That was it.
Okay.
To just do some slumping slappers that was timeless and undeniable. And I didn't have to just settle for beats and all that shit. I get to, you know, pick the beat. Man, let's do this. I want to do some shit like this. I had a couple of hooks and shit. The homie like, let's build around that motherfucker. Woo, woo, woo. So I got to pick my shit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you rappers is just getting beats because you don't want to pay. You know, but buy some beats, man. It's worth it. Because my shit is paid for, and that motherfucker slump. You know, and that's the main thing, you know. Even if it's just something, you know, you got to pay for something, and then you'll get, you know, better quality. You know, so that's what I went for, man. I want quality over quantity. Because I don't care about all these 100 records dropping and ain't nobody banging them.
Right.
Ain't nobody even banging one or two of the songs. You know, It's like, nah, man, I got like, out of 11 slumpers, man, I got 6 of them you can bang. Guaranteed. Gangsta guarantee. And the other ones are going to grow on you.
Right.
You know, or you get your money back. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good deal.
Yeah. You know, on a physical copy. But you ain't going to want it back.
Right.
You going to want another one because somebody going to steal that motherfucker. Like they did all my Dirty OG CDs. I had a box full of them. Somebody stole them. Fuck it, promotion. At least they stole them to play them.
Absolutely.
Motherfucker wouldn't steal a bunch of bunk shit up.
Not at all. So there it is. Well, Weazel Loc, man, I appreciate you coming through here.
I appreciate you having me, man.
To the Soren Baker Show here, man. Digital Soapbox Network.
Yeah.
Check it out there. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, you know, support Unique Access Entertainment, man. Weazel Loc is in the building. Get that gangster guarantee. And then support the Dirty OGs as well, as always, man. Always a pleasure. Indeed, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, homeboy. G's up. Go get that gangster guarantee out. Reads like knees down, cuzzo, and that's a gangster guarantee that. Yes, yes. It's a Soren Baker Show, y'all. Appreciate it. G's up.